with Telegram. I'm so used to other platform, but this is literally my first time, using this platform for presentation. So I have it on my phone, but I had to quickly download it on my Mac, and that took a little bit of time. But thank you, Samuel, for jumping in. We were able to resolve it, and now I'm here. I'm so happy to be part of this bootcamp. I got introduced to Samuel by one of a very good friend of my good brother that we were together at University of Ibadan. While I was doing my postgraduate program. So yeah, I'm glad to be doing this with you all. Few things. Today's topic covered, and just let me take a step back to really acknowledge the past speakers. I was unable to join, but I watched the recordings, and it was really amazing content, and work that they've done. They've laid a good foundation, and today, I believe the first session was about product management, project management, and yesterday was about building, not only the software but also how we can build our careers. And today, I'll be making it a little bit more practical. I think it's cool to kind of give you a sense of what all these things we are talking together. Bringing all those experiences together to really give you the worldview of the cloud and AI and literally the future of work, which I don't think is the future of work anymore. I think we are in that future right now. So just before I jump start, I know I have to quickly do some little recap and introduction there. My name is Muyiwa Kolayemi. I'm a senior platform engineer. And 1 second, let me see if I will be able to share my screen. It seems I will have to give me 1 second to quickly allow Telegram on my Mac so that I can share my screen. It will be helpful for me to use the presentation that I have to guide our conversation so that I don't go sideways in our conversation. Can you all see my screen now? Is it coming up?
Not yet, sir. Not yet.
Okay, thanks so much for bearing with me as I get acclimatized with. Okay, yeah, it took me back to the screen now. Screen and share. Interesting. Let's do that again. Share. What about now?
It's coming up, sir. But I think the network is bad. It's not showing it.
This will be tough to. Please bear with me. I will figure this out. We are all tech guys, right? We figure things out. Unable to share screen. Please grant access. Okay. It seems I need to grant more access, and I've done that. Hello, am I back?
No, sir. It's not showing at all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's showing now. I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. He had to like stop me there and join back again. So what about now? Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. That was a little bit of a hassle there, but I will make this quick, and I promise this will be an interesting one. So yeah, going back to introduction here, my name is Muyiwa Kolayemi, a senior platform engineer from Slalom Consulting. On day to day, I work a lot with AWS Cloud, which is one of the public cloud computing organization in the world. And I'm also part of the AWS Community Builder. This is my 5th year. AWS Community Builder, people that love sharing their knowledge about AWS and, share what they are building, how they are using AWS, so that others can also learn, about the cloud computing in general. And that is one of the reasons, I'm excited to join this call, because it's one of the things that I do. I go to deliver talks like this to help people to understand what is cloud computing. So for today, our topic will be majorly on fundamentals of cloud computing, AI, and cloud, and I'll just show you a tip of an iceberg of building an application, a web application that I built, and how it's been deployed in the cloud. And so I think that would be a good practical to bring all those experience of this boot camp that you've started 2 days ago, and bringing it to a good close. And also I can recommend some further studies, further research, further learning that could really help you to further your understanding. But before I jump in, maybe if you guys can just like put in the chat, just curious, this will guide me on how deep or how far I should explain some concepts that I'll be sharing. So I'm curious to know, like, part of this, participants here, do we, how many people are familiar or, with cloud computing, or maybe you are, you are in tech already, or maybe you are new to tech, you want to dabble into it, you want to learn more. It would be good if I can, get a sense of, where people are, so that when I'm, giving this presentation, I'll be able to be mindful of, some of the concepts that I might need to spend time to explain or to brush over if we have, tech gurus in the house today. So you can put in the chat. I might not be able to see chat now, but I'd like to know, what stage are you in your tech journey? Are you a beginner? Are you an expert? Are you just, exploring the world of tech in general? You are all welcome, but I just want to know what are the people we have here. So I'm just going to take a 30 seconds break to get feedback from you. Can you put that in the chat for me, please? And let me take a look at the chat. Do we have people dropping messages in the chat? Where are you at your cloud journey or tech journey? Beginner, Cardic, beginner, good. Who else do we have there? At least I need like 3 people to be my North Star about what we'll be presenting today. 2 more people to share. As I quickly take in my coffee. Any other volunteers? Where are you in your journey? I'm a product designer, so I don't know anything about cloud computing. Good. You are in a good place to learn about that. So yeah, this is good. This is good. Can we have one more person? One more, and then I will move. with the speed. So while we wait for one more person to share where they are, I think, do we get one more person? Okay. Someone just joined. Okay, let me just move. I want to be mindful of our time. Okay, so I will make it. I will really spend time in the space of the fundamentals, so that this will be a good introduction for you to explore the world of cloud computing. So this is a question I'm posting to the chat. Feel free to put your response in the chat. So have you ever wondered, what happened when you open an app, and I would like to know most of your favorite app, probably Telegram, because we are using it. All right. Have you wondered what happened when you open Telegram on your phone, or WhatsApp, or Facebook or Google? Do you ever think about where does this run? How am I able to just type www.google.com and then voila, I'm able to see a welcome page? How am I able to do that? Where is that running, right? And have you thought about how is Google being able to manage millions of users that are searching, the same, different question, posting different question on Google? How does it scale to be able to manage all those requests, right? So if you ever wonder about these three questions, then if you have answer to this question, and I think you have understanding of what cloud computing is already about. So which I'm going to move to the next slide here. So I hope you're able to capture those questions. So that question helps us to really come to this next slide, which is talking about why cloud and what is cloud. So let's take it a little bit further. Right now, cloud powers most of the modern application we use daily. Google, they have their own Google Cloud. If you ever buy anything from Amazon, where you're buying gifts, books, or whatever, they also have their, cloud computing service, which is the Amazon Web Service, right? So understanding this, really give you, why cloud is very important, because literally, even this Telegram, is being hosted somewhere, is a server that has a software that some developers, they've written the code that, hey, when someone type, search for maybe a restaurant or something on Google, first of all, try to check in where is their location, and then suggest, the nearest restaurant where they can have, jollof rice, whatever, they are asking for. So there's a software running on a server, right? The server, just from the word server, is serving whatever is being programmed to do. But that server is able to render that service globally. And as a user, you are able to access that service using internet. And that is where the word web services come in. So even when you are using your Gmail, email, being able to send email and all of that is a service that Google is rendering for you, right? So that your email is an application that is hosted on a server in the cloud, and you are able to interact with that via the internet, via your web services. So that is literally the basic definition of cloud computing. And if someone asks you today, at least one thing that I want you to take home, you should be able to understand that cloud, there's a server somewhere that is being serving whatever is being programmed to do, which is services, right? And then you can interact with it. And I think that kind of like moved me into what is cloud, right? So I think in my explanation of why cloud, I've been able to like also like define what cloud is for you. Any services, any product, any organization that have a product that they are delivering computing resources. And when we are talking about computing resources, we are talking about servers, we are talking about storage, like your database or your like your Google Drive, where you can store all your pictures and all of that in the cloud, and you can download it anytime. That is also another service, right? Networking. Networking is how you are able to connect, to a service that is not even like maybe in the US and you are in Nigeria, and you're able to like connect that. So the networking is what manage those, how computer communicates, whether irrespective of wherever they are in the world, right? There are routers that route those requests to those services across the world. So, and the last one is software, right? The software that I was explaining is like, giving an example of Gmail, even Telegram and whatever, right? You're able to access those information via the internet rather than, running it locally. And you can do this, you can buy, you can literally ask for AWS, like, hey, AWS, I have a software that I'm running. I need a server to run that software, and I just want the server to be provisioned for just only on weekend, right? So cloud computing help you to achieve that. So you don't need to literally like physically buy a server and run it and shut down where even when you are not using it, it's running and all of that. But with web service, you can literally rent all these resources, right? All this infrastructure on demand based on your own terms. Like, hey, I only want my website. Maybe I'm serving something, but it's only for weekend as a side hustle. So I want this website to only be available on weekend. So you tell AWS to provision that service for you on weekend. And when it is Sunday night, midnight, it shut it down, right? So those are the benefits of cloud computing, that we can take advantage on. And so, as I think during my conversation with Samuel, he also confirmed that most of the people that will be joining this talk, they are, beginners are, like exploring cloud computing, which I love. I love talking to beginners. I was once a beginner too, like 7 years ago. I don't know what, cloud computing was all about. So that is why I designed this with that focus in mind. So when you hear cloud computing, there are some basic concepts that you will hear a lot. And it might sound like jargons, like what are they talking about? Is not that complicated. They are just, ways you communicate, you understand, whatever you are doing in the cloud. So let's start with the cloud model and services. So I'm starting on the left. The first diagram on the left actually talking about public and private cloud. And also I included hybrid cloud. So let's start with the public cloud. I believe, you probably know ShopRite. So let's think about ShopRite. They are very big. They have most of their their shops, their grocery store across Nigeria, different places in Nigeria, and even in South Africa, I believe. So ShopRite can decide that, hey, we are big. We want to own our servers. We want to have a private cloud where uh, the store in Ibadan will be able to, interact with the store in Abeokuta. They can manage those network. They can manage the storage, so that when someone maybe on the website want to order for bread or anything, it can serve that resources, that service, from their private cloud. So they might not use public cloud. They might own their own cloud. That means they have their own servers, maybe in a big building, and they are running their own cloud, but they are serving. So people still make a request via the web service, but now it's being hosted in the private cloud of ShopRite. So that is an example of private cloud. So when you provide all these resources that I mentioned, that is servers, storage, databases, networking and software, and that organization own it, they own everything, and they are serving it through the web services, either internal services or external, right? So that is a private cloud. On the other side, the public cloud is one of the, Amazon Web Service is the largest. They are the one that actually started this journey, I believe, about maybe 15 years ago. I think maybe 2006, if I'm right. So they literally, tell people, hey, ShopRite, we know you are big, but you don't need to focus on, having your own servers, building all of that by yourself. We know that you know how to sell good. Why don't you focus on, doing, the transaction, and we will take care of anything tech for you. So if ShopRite say, you know what, that is good, let's do that. Take over. Let's move all our resources, everything to AWS. Now you move your resources to cloud. So you are taking the benefit of both security, the networking. AWS is global. You can, is in South Africa, is in America, is in. So if let's say ShopRite wants to move to, another country, but because they are using AWS cloud, and AWS can still serve the customer of ShopRite in that new country. So those are the benefits of public cloud. You are not managing the cloud yourself. You are giving that out to AWS or Azure or Google, and they can help you manage it. There's what we call managed services. There are managed databases. There are managed storage. There are managed servers that, AWS will help you to manage that. And you just focus on your business, what you know how to do best, right? So that is one of the model. And there's also another concept. I'm in line 2 now in the cloud model and services. There's something called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So you might ask me, what is IaaS? Infrastructure as a service is when AWS, when you go to AWS and say, hey, we need your servers, your database, all the infrastructure that we need to run our business. So you move everything to AWS. That is fine. And platform as a service is where you say, hey, we just want to use some of your platform, some of your services, let's say maybe your serverless architecture, to run some of your managed databases, right? Or maybe there's one that is called Amplify, that people use it for web hosting. So maybe you just have a website, you don't really want to use AWS, infrastructure, but you don't want to use your platform. Then AWS provide a platform for you to just, bring your code, and then we'll help you run it. So that is a platform as a service. So a software as a service is where AWS also tell you that, hey, we have a software that you can like actually run it to, to do what, whatever you want to use for. So let's say an email, right? So AWS have AWS simple email service. That is like is like a software as a service. So AWS, you can just go to AWS like, hey, I want to use your email. So instead of using Gmail, I want to use your email services to send messages to people, right? So that is one of the offering as a SaaS. So you hear a lot of like SaaS products. They're just talking about software as a service. So when an organization is providing services to you via a website, and they own the software, they are talking about SaaS products. And another concept that is very popular in the cloud is this concept called scalability and high availability. So scalability is talking about how easy you can quickly expand your resources, and how you can make it highly available for people to use. Let me give you an example. We all know about the concept of Black Friday, right? So during Black Friday, it's like everybody want to shop everything, on that day, because most organizations provide discounts, right? So imagine if let's imagine back to our ShopRite example. So imagine ShopRite, hosting their website on AWS, and people are, a lot of people, maybe before just 100 people would typically, request for to buy, to do transaction on ShopRite. But because of Black Friday, now they suddenly seen over 1,000 people in 1 hour, trying to buy their products. But don't forget that this thing is running on a server, and the server has, just like our computer, right? It has like memory and CPU. So maybe for 100 users, you're like, yeah, I just need maybe a 4 gig RAM or 16 gig RAM, and your CPU. You go very small, small medium server. But because now there is this Black Friday, definitely if you are still using that same amount of storage and amount of RAM in your server, definitely, and 1,000 people is trying to, hit your server, it's going to be very, very slow. That means your service will not be available. So you have low availability, right? So, but the concept of scalability and cloud, what it brings is that you can quickly, scale. We call it auto scaling. Automatically scale your server based on the request. So once AWS see that, or any cloud computing organization sees that, wow, there's a lot of people trying to hit your service, then that means we need to increase the service. So if you set up your auto scaling, so it might even quickly spin up additional server. It might be the same, for a 16 RAM server, but now it can quickly spin maybe additional 2, so that they are managing, the request that the 1,000 people. So now instead of 100 people going to one server, so they split it. Now they can have like maybe 350 being served across of those 3 servers at the same time, right? Or you can even do vertical scaling, which is vertical scaling, which is you had additional resources. Maybe from your 16 gig RAM, you can move to a server that has maybe 64 gig RAM to be able to accommodate that service. So, and then that will make your product to be highly available, because when people click, they'll be able to like see the product and maybe purchase it and put it in the cart, and they can pay for it. So scalability and high availability, goes together, and cloud computing help you to achieve that. because you can quickly scale and you can make your product be highly available. And there's also another concept called shared responsibilities. So when you are hosting your maybe services on your product on AWS, there has to be a mutual agreement about, hey, this is our responsibility. We will take care of this part of architecture. And any other thing that relates to the data, how people are logging into this, you have to be the one to, take responsibility of that. So that is the concept called shared responsibility. So AWS will make sure their database, is secure. Their network is secure, encrypted. Data that is coming in encrypted. So, and you also have your own responsibility, making sure that you when people are signing in, they have maybe a strong password. They have all those security responsibility in place. So that is the concept. I know I'm rushing through that, but I want to quickly go to the middle diagram now, which I'm talking about the cloud architecture. So generally, most of the cloud architecture right now, they fall into these three categories. So there is something called three-tier architecture, and another one called microservices architecture and serverless architecture. So let me quickly brief through three-tier architecture. So as I said earlier on, when a user wants to maybe use a service, right? They have to be a front end, right? Something that is like a home page. Let's use example of ShopRite again. So as you log into ShopRite, it takes you to their home page and you will say, where to buy your stuff. So that front page, that is what is managing how you log in and have access to that. It is what we call so in the three-tier architecture we have the front end, the application logic, and then the database. So the front end is where you see I can interact with this product, I can put this in my cart and pay for it. But when you actually click a product, there is a software that is making that available for you. That is where the application logic come in, and that is being served on a server, right? And for all the pictures of product that ShopRite is serving people that you're able to see on the website is actually stored in a particular storage. It can be in a database, can be in S3 bucket, storage service, so that when you click it, it will actually show the full picture for you. And what you're actually viewing is actually being served from the database and passed through the application and render to you in your front end that you can see in the home page. So that is what we call a three-tier architecture. That is the front end part of it, the application logic, what is actually the software that is actually communicating to the database and help to pass the request of the user and serve them to the front end. So those are the three-tier architecture. And we also have microservices architecture, which is just different services serving different purpose. So you can have a microservice that is serving how are people logging in to your to your service, to your product, and another one that will actually manage how people can maybe buy a product, put a product in the cart. There might be another microservices that is responsible for payment, how people are putting in their credit card, information, and then accepting that credit card and confirm that they are who they said they are, and then allow them to pay. So there can also be another service for that. So when you have all those microservices that is serving different purposes in your application, we call it microservices architecture. So the last one is a serverless architecture. So, I've talked about, most of your product is a software running on on a server. But the serverless architecture doesn't actually mean that you don't have a server. Only that the server, instead of you, managing the server yourself, AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, they have what they call serverless application architecture that can help you. So just bring your code, just bring your software, and they will help you to host it. You don't need to own the the server part of it. They manage that server side of thing for you. And then, so the diagram that I put here is actually a typical example of a serverless architecture on AWS. So when a user, maybe want to make a request to an application that is running on AWS Lambda. So AWS Lambda is one of the serverless products that AWS provide. So is where it's like a serverless server. So it's a managed server that, sorry, I just said serverless server. A managed server that AWS help you just bring your code, run it on AWS Lambda. And when a user want to, make a request, use that service, that the software that is running on your Lambda, it has to find a way to be able to communicate to your logic. Remember the concept of 3-tier architecture is similar to this, right? So we have API gateway, which all is doing is asking you, hey, where are you going? What part of this service that this software that is running on Lambda, what part of that service do you need? So let's say a user just want to register newly for a product. So API gateway will tell the software, which is the Lambda, hey, this user want to, create a new account, and then it will serve the traffic to that particular logic. And then the DynamoDB you see there is like a database that is storing all the session. So when a new user creates a new account, then the database will store all their information, their name, maybe if they are buying something, their credit card, everything about them. And then the storage there, Amazon S3 is what actually have all the details of maybe the images that you have on your website. You can store all of that in that. And when the user successfully creates an account, and then you can send an email to that person to hey, welcome to this blah blah blah, and then they can receive email. So all this that I just shared now is typical serverless architecture on AWS. And another thing that you will hear about cloud computing is this concept called DevOps. Have any one of you heard about the word DevOps before? Let's see, let's check in the chat. Have you heard about the word DevOps before? You can just type yes in the chat as a way of checking before moving on. Have you heard about the concept DevOps before in the chat? Let's see if people are with us in the chat. Have you heard about DevOps before? DevOps, the concept DevOps. You can unmute yourself and just, let me know because I can't see the chat. Have you heard about DevOps? Any of you heard about DevOps before? As I quickly drink my coffee.
No.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. Yes, so the word DevOps is just a way of, how developers, right? So if you take a look at the diagram on the right, a developer is a software engineer that writes a code. And so DevOps is a way where developer and operation, they come together. So when you have a software, it has to be running somewhere, right? For people to be able to use it. So the word DevOps is actually like development and operation, right? So that you are bridging that together so that a developer, have understanding of how the software is being run and how people are interacting with it. So DevOps is like a bridge that brings, the two career together, this developer and also the operation, that is the people that are managing the server to run all this software that developers developed. So a typical one, and I believe I think the presenter yesterday mentioned something about GitHub when I was listening to a recording. So GitHub is where developer write their code and they push it to GitHub. So let's imagine you in an organization, you have a 6 developers. One is responsible for writing code that focus on front end, how the web page look like. And there is another developer that is focused on the back end, that is how the people will be interacting with the software, maybe for payment, for purchases and all of that. And there's another developer that managing interaction with maybe databases and all of that. Right. So when they write their code, everything is one application, right? So when they write their code, they have to be a way, a common place where they can push their code to, combine it together, so that when they make any change at all, it is feasible and they are not overriding each other's work. So that is where the concept of version control comes in, so that the change that you made on Friday, if you have to roll it back on Monday, we can quickly roll it back because there's a version of that you are managing, right? That is the concept of version control. And there's another concept called infrastructure as code. So you can actually manually go to, all these public cloud, AWS, for example. You can go there and ask for manually configure, I want server, for my application. You can configure that manually on their console, on their website, and you can, request for server at the same time on their website. So when you do all these things manually, and then you now have everything, your application is working, but you don't have any storage of what are the activities, your configuration, how you're able to provision all those resources. So that is where the concept of infrastructure as code comes in. That is, let's find a way to make sure that how we are provisioning infrastructure, that is how we are provisioning maybe server, database, networking, all of that, we can actually write it as a code. And then we can also save it in the version control, just the same way the developer are storing their code. So that when we want to make a rollover or want to make an update, it can be very easy. We can quickly just, edit that part. Maybe we want to change from 1 server to 5 server. We can just, because we have it in a template as a code, we can just go and change one variable that determines the number of instances is equal to 1. We can just go there and change that 1 to 5 and then push the code, and voila, it will going to, create all those 5 resources for us. Instead of us now going manually into the website and now start to add additional 4, right? But now everything is in template, is a code. So that is where the concept of infrastructure as code come in. And one of the popular products for doing that is Terraform. Also, Pulumi is also popular. In my demo today, I will show you what I built with Pulumi and all of that. So the last one is, you will hear about this in the DevOps world. It's called CI/CD pipeline. When you see someone that is DevOps, they will always talk about, oh, my CI/CD pipeline. All what they are saying is a CI/CD is how software is being delivered. So just think about it as a plug between your version control, where you are storing your code, right? And wherever you are deploying your resources to, let's say you are deploying it to AWS. So literally, GitHub Actions is like an additional product on GitHub. So when you have your code in GitHub and you have a template, with your infrastructure as code, maybe Terraform or Pulumi, you have specified how many servers you want, how many networking you want, and all of that. So GitHub Actions will help you to actually deploy that. So it will first test it, like, okay, does this thing have any vulnerability? Does it conform with all the guardrails and governance? And then it will deploy that to the cloud, either AWS cloud, or even if you have your private cloud, it will deploy it into it. So that is the concept of CI/CD pipeline. So I spent time to give you the basic concept, and I believe we can further continue this conversation in the chat. Some of the other places where you can learn more about this concept, but just to make you appreciate this concept of cloud computing and all of that. I actually built an app, during I think it was actually this week. I was using all this AI tool. I use AI tool to actually be able to build an app. And this diagram you are seeing here is just the diagram to explain what the app is doing. But I will actually go and do a demo and show you the app, how it works, and some of the services, AWS services that I'm using for that. So you can see on the left, I'm using Pulumi. So Pulumi is using Python to define how many resources do I want. I want database, I want Lambda, I want API gateway. So from this diagram, when a user log in and search this website, so this is an inductive Bible study app. So inductive Bible study is just a method of how people can study Bible by asking question, observing it, not just jumping to conclusion, but you just try to take a moment, observe what are the patterns in this Bible verse, understand it, and think about, okay, what is the application? How can I apply this Bible verses or this chapter into my day-to-day life, and what is the interpretation of that? Okay, what does it mean, to me in 2026, the Word of God. So I built this app, to just help people to be able to have a platform where they can do a group study together. And what it's going to do is that when you go to ibs.moico.com, it's going to serve you the front end, which is hosted, which is a Nest.js app, right? It's running on one of the AWS microservices that I mentioned, ECS, right? So it's a managed service, and it's going to serve you. First thing, it will confirm, it will ask you to sign in, but if you don't have an account, you create account. So all of that is being managed by this AWS Cognito. This Cognito service is what is authorize you to be able to get your details and give you access to the app. So once you sign in and you're able to sign up, and it will give you a code to confirm that you are who you are, and then you get access to that. So all at the back end of it, so this is the application load balancer that is now routing your request, to that application, using into this backend. So for my backend, I'm using, AWS Lambda. So what it's going to do is that it's going to take your request. So when we have a group study and people, they observe something about the chapter and they write it down, right? And then they also write down their observation, and they write down their interpretation, what they interpret from that word of God. And then they also write down their application, how they can apply that word to their current, current day-to-day life. So once they put all those things together, so this is Amazon Bedrock. So this is Amazon AI service. So what this AI service will do, it will now collect, individual members' session, everything for that session, for that group Bible study that we are doing. It will collect it and collate it together and send out a summary, like, hey, today, here is the recap of, our Bible study group that we did together. So it will give you your own summary, everything that you talk about, so that you have a way where you can like go back to go and look at the recap, what you learned in that session. So, and I'm sending that email using this AWS service that I mentioned, SES. It's called AWS Simple Email Service. It will send that email to you. And I'm storing all the session in the DynamoDB database. So if you are a new member, it will store your session there, so that when you want to quickly recall, it can help you sort that. Let me see if I still have time. So that is that app. So I can just quickly show you the demo here. Okay. So so this is the website. So right now, this is the inductive Bible study. I log in already, right? So I can actually re-log in again. So if I log in as an admin and go in there, it will show me this page, right? And it will like provide me basic information about what the inductive Bible study is. And because I log in as an admin, I can, it will just tell me how it works, observe, interpret, and apply. And I can, open a group. I can create a group, but this is just a sample group that I created just to, a managed session to send emails. So when I open, so as an admin, I can also be part of the study group, right? So I can have my own session. Just, I can observe, like, okay, maybe from this John 3:16, I observe this, and then I can, add my interpretation to that, and then my application I can add, okay, this is how I'm applying John 3:16 to my word, and then once all of that is done, I will have, the summary of everything that that we discuss, and then it will send. So, but because this is an individual user, right? So you won't see how to send but this is just what you're going to see. It will give you a latest summary before you log out of that session. And then from there, if you want to read the Bible directly, you can actually click Bible Gateway, and it will take you to Bible Gateway, where you can, you can take a look at any Bible verse. We can check John 3:16, and then it will take us there, and you can read the Bible. So you still have everything running for you. And then, so if I go back now, as an admin, I'm also able to see the admin view. So this is what will happen. So as an admin, I can take action. That is, I can generate a summary of what people talk about, and I can send that. I can download this as an artifact to have the record of it, and then send the recap. So when I send the recap, it will go to to the members, like all the members. So this I'm like sending to all the members. So this is yes, this is just a new app that I built today that I'm just like still testing out. So it will send all those information to when you sign up for this. And I'm doing all of this right here from my. So let me just quickly show you what that looks like. So this is a can you all see my code? So this is a VS Code. Is where an application that helps you to write your code and run your Git. If you remember my presentation earlier, and I can push this to GitHub, and then it can run in the CI/CD pipeline to change things. So for this image, I actually don't like this image, but just to show you how we can do this, I can revert back the image that I have here before. Let me see if it will be able to. Would you like to? Okay, I just 1 second. Let me find. Okay, yes, this is the image that I want to use. So I can actually copy this image and let's delete this. Move to trash. And then in the public image, now let's put in, it won't let us. Let's see if you can. Are you sure you want to paste? Yes. Okay, so I paste that. So let me just quickly rename it. Friends Bible Study. Right, so this is Friends Studying Bible Study JPEG. Right, so I can then update my source here. So this is where I'm serving this the image, right? So I can update that part to, I think we call it Friends Studying Bible Study JPEG. Okay. Yep, that is what we have. So I update that. I save this. And now let's commit this code. So there's a change. So let me just add git add. First, let's do git status. Okay, so git status, it told me that I've made some changes, I've modified something, I've removed something. So I can, and I'm adding this new image here. So I can create that git add. Boom. So I had that, and then I can push commit, add a message of what I just did. Like added a new image for IBS web app. Boom. So I can now push that code to the cloud. So let's go to my so let's go. So this is GitHub. So this is the GitHub that I mentioned earlier. So this is my GitHub where I'm running this. And it just told me that I just made a change to this branch, feature demo, had a push recently 16 seconds ago, which is your did. And now I can create a pull request to merge that code that I just did into the main branch where that hosts all the application that so this is the demo that will show you when different developers are working on an application like this, this is how, someone that is responsible for the website, but from the front end, maybe they want to change something there. You see how we change the image right there, and now we are pushing that. So right now, this what it's doing here, I can go to this, to the GitHub Actions. So this is the CI/CD pipeline that I'm talking about. So it will first run, the front end and see that, okay, what's changed in this page, right? So you can see here is generating a static page. That is, it knows that I've changed something in the web page, in the static page. So now is building it again, rebuilding the code again, and compiling it. So compile was successful. So you can see that it's still running the front end part of it, and we'll see if it is successful. So it was successful. Now it's going to render that static, right? So everything is fine. We have a successful CI/CD pipeline run, and we've created our pull request, right? So since our pull request, everything works well, we are confirmed, the developer that is working on this part of the code now has confirmed that, hey, my code works well, everything, I've tested it in my own branch. Now I want to combine it to the main branch that contain all the code for the organization, even from the other developers. So in a typical team settings, there will be somebody, maybe the team lead, that will read and confirm that, okay, the changes that I just made, everything is fine, right? So you can see the changes that I made here. So I removed the demo image, and to this friend Bible study image, I can see that, and I can see the image here. So you can see what actually changed, right? So once the team leader confirmed that, okay, this is fine, let's add this code to our main code, and then we can approve that, and then we can confirm and merge the resources. So once we merge that feature branch code to our main branch, so now it is running another CI/CD pipeline to check again that, and build again. Now it's running on the main branch this time around. You notice the one that we ran 2 minutes ago was on the feature branch that developer was working on, which is I'm the developer right now, right? So just mimicking if you are working in a team. So I can go to the CI pipeline, which is continuous integration. If you remember, I mentioned CI/CD, right? So the CI is the continuous integration. That is when a software engineer work on a particular part, it has to test it and integrate it to the main branch. So that's what I'm doing now, is the continuous integration. So it run and confirm that, okay, whatever you run on your own feature branch separately is also working well in the main branch that has all the code of others, right? So the CI also run successfully. So now we can go and confirm the deployment, which is the CD, continuous deployment, the deployment that will actually push this code to the AWS and make that changes actually happen. So we will see if we are able to, to make the changes happen the way we want in the app. So let's see what is still serving. Let's go back and see what it still look like. So it still have this image, the old image that we have there, right? But once it is successfully deployed and we refresh, we should be able to see the new image of friends that are studying Bible study that I push. So this is still going. The pipeline is still running. It's running Pulumi. And as it's doing all of that, I think it's successful. So the deployment was successful. I believe we are good to go now to go and check if it has made that change, those changes that we made. Okay, 2 minutes ago, it was successful. So let's go and try to refresh. We might need to log out first. Let me just log out and log in again and see if it will change. It's possible I missed something, but just 1 second. Let me confirm that I change what I need to change. So we've changed the source here to the Bible study. Yes, where else are we serving this? Yes, a group of friends studying Bible study. Yes. Yes, so this should be fine. So let's go back. It might take a little while before. I think it's changing it. Okay, it's updating it. A group of friends gathered together for an inductive Bible study. You can see that it's trying to render that. So let's refresh again. Yeah, the image is not coming out the way it is. Maybe something was wrong, but you can see that it made the change right there. It might be the resources, but it's supposed to actually change the image. So, but this is just giving us a group of friends, but was unable to actually render that image. I don't want to keep you, or I can look into what make this not to show the picture. But you can see that it removed the picture that we deleted and try to render the new picture that we put there now in code. Yeah, it's JPEG. It's right here. Yeah, something. Yeah, for some reason it's unable to render this. But initially my initial one that I ran, it actually was able to render this, which I can show you. The one that is running locally. So I am running this in the cloud, and also I'm able to run this locally on my laptop. So let me just show you what it looks like when you run it. When I'm running it locally, I believe I'm using 1 second. Okay, so for my local run in local, so let me just clear this on my history. One second, I'm in the cloud, so I can run this. I want to remember what I use for. Are you still with me? One second. I think I store those information to run it locally. Yeah, just let me. Okay, yeah, PMP run. Yeah, locally PMP run dev. So let me just quickly run that. see if it will come up. Okay, it's coming up. And we can go to this localhost. It won't let me copy that, but I can go to my browser and just type in that. So HTTP is the / okay, localhost. So let's see if it will render that with my localhost. Okay, yeah. So you can see in the localhost, in my local, so this is how I'm running it. So it doesn't have like the fancy storage and all of that. So these are just like local storage, and I'm just using a local test. I can put in any password onto it. Just a test is option for now. And if I log in, no, not now. Is he able to log me in? Admin at local. Okay, yeah, you can see. So this is what the website was like, the one I deployed. I intentionally changed the image so that I can use it during the demo. So this is what it looks like, that what I'm running locally right now, and I can go to. This is literally running on my laptop, right? It's not in the cloud like I showed. You can see it's showing localhost, and I can go to open group. I can see the group that I created, everything, and take a look at what are the sessions, and I can take a look at the admin session, contributions and all of that. You can see how that is also running, and especially how the picture is being rendered locally. So I don't know why. There must be something. Maybe if I can rerun it, it will actually show how it works. But yeah, that is all I have for you today. Just to I'll show you how things run in the cloud, and how you can take advantage of it. For further study, I would definitely recommend you guys to take a look at AWS Skill Builder. I can put it in the chat. AWS Skill Builder, it will help you to learn more about AWS services, cloud computing, fundamentals of cloud computing. You can take it up from there, and we can continue this conversation. Feel free as well to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to to provide additional information. Maybe there's something that we didn't go over that you would like to learn more. I'm happy to to provide those information. So yeah, here's my LinkedIn. You can scan that QR code, and it will take you to connect with me. Thank you so much for allowing me. I'm sorry I ran over a little bit because I came late. But I hope this was helpful. I hope you now go back to understand what cloud computing is, and you can share that with others. And I've also sparked some curiosity in you. Hopefully you want to pursue a career in cloud computing, and I'm happy to guide and provide guidance for as many that are interested. So thank you. I will stop for now. Over to you, the moderator.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful session.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. I think this is where I drop from now. Thank you so much. Have the rest of your enjoy the rest of your time.
I think there are people that have questions. That's what I want to ask. So please, if you know you have any questions, you can drop it in the group chat now.
we can respond to them, or you unmute yourself and ask your question.
Please feel free to ask me any question. I'm happy to provide. Just a quick one? Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need to. Okay, yeah, ask your question. I'm here. Any question? No question? I guess either people understand the concept or they still want to go back and think more about it and explore it. Feel free to reach out if you have any question, maybe later. It's a lot, and it's a lot to take in. So yeah, but I'm definitely happy to continue the conversation. If you are curious and want to learn more, please reach out on LinkedIn.
Very much, sir, for that session. From what I can say, I don't think there's anybody that has a question right now, or if they have, probably they're not here right now. So thank you, sir. We are really grateful for that wonderful session. Yes, it was really wonderful. And I must say, I appreciate everyone who has joined us here online. I can see Mr. Bayo on call. You're welcome, sir. I appreciate you joining us here. Everyone that has joined, the moderator, Damilola, Alulimi, Kadik, Enioluwa, Oluwadarasimi, and also others that have joined, but probably due to network or busy schedule have left the call. I want to appreciate every one of you for joining us for the first edition of the Tech Bootcamp. And yes, it has, should I say it has come to a close? No, it has not come to a close, because today is ending the first session, and very soon we're going to be sharing of another session. That's Tech Bootcamp 2.0 that's going to be coming up. Well, God knows when, but anticipate. So please, let's do well to reach out to the YouTube, so as to watch the videos. If you have anything you want to clarify, or you missed out on any session at all, you can watch it there on the YouTube page. I'm going to send the link of the YouTube page after this call. And also, I said something earlier about certification, but I don't really know how well this is going to work out. But let's see before the end of this week if we're going to have anything like that. We're going to let us also know. Although this group might be dissolved, and it might not actually. It won't be dissolved actually. It won't be dissolved. So we are going to be posting some things here. Also, we want to have feedback from you about the session, how we can improve, and how we can make things better on the session than it was before. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. So as I said, I'm going to be dropping the link to the group. Sorry, the link to the feedback, so we can have your feedback. I'm sorry for that. So we can have your feedback on the bootcamp, how you want us to improve, and how you want things to go on well. So thank you very much, everyone. Once again, I really appreciate your presence. I appreciate your patience. Thank you and welcome. And we have come to the end of Tech Bootcamp 1.0. Thank you, everyone.